Welcome to Migration Monday. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join me. I'm your host, Brian Hallbly. Migration Mondays are brought to you by the Duck Hole and Company, attracting feathers together. Check them out at the Duck Hole and Company on Facebook or Instagram. They can get you fixed up with habitat advice, full service habitat contracting, golden millet seed, and much more. This is a special Migration Monday falling on Memorial Day this week. I just want to take a moment to recognize the ultimate sacrifice that has been made by our veterans who are no longer with us while serving our country and keeping us free and just affording us the opportunity to continue to be blessed with this great country that we can all travel around in. You know, we spend so much time as waterfowlers in our trucks, traveling across the state, traveling across the country, and just to live in a free society where we have the ability to work and provide the means to do that. And not to mention, you know, the freedoms of being able to own firearms and to throw that shotgun in the truck and drive across the country without any hassle. And just a multitude of other things that we take for granted every day. I just wanted to make sure that I took time out of this Memorial Day to recognize that. And every day, we should all be thinking about that and being thankful and appreciative of it. So if any of my listeners out there have ever lost a family member while they were serving our country, I know me and my family deeply, deeply are thankful to your family member sacrifice, and thank you. I'm sure that, you know, going through that with a family member is unthinkable, but just know that you have a grateful country and a lot of people that won't forget about it. So thank you for that. I've got my grandfather's flag behind me. He was fortunate to come back from World War II. They had that on his casket when he passed away. This is his picture all the way on this end. That's Robert Dwayne Harris. That is my mom's dad. He served in the Marine Corps, fought at Iwo Jima, and saw a lot of stuff over that time frame. Same with my dad's dad, William. He was in the Army Air Corps, which is now the Air Force, which they called it the Army Air Corps back then. He served during World War II also. This is my father, Patrick. He served in Vietnam. He was wounded in action. He's got a Purple Heart. He was a airborne ranger. Just, you know, my ultimate hero, true American badass. And thankfully he came home, because I wouldn't be sitting here if he hadn't made it back. So, but just, I'm very proud to have served. I'm very proud to come from this long line of warriors. And days like Memorial Day are really special for me to think about the ones that didn't come back and the things that they paid for with their blood. So just take time to think about that and just be thankful. I got some baby back ribs in the smoker. I don't know how many of you guys out there or gals that enjoy smoking meats. It's become a big part of my life over the last 25 years or so. It really pairs well with wild game. If you shoot a lot of ducks and a lot of geese, deer, you name it. It's a good way to preserve a lot of your game if you've got a lot of it. Some of the purists out there might get a little bit frustrated with us that, you know, turn a nice duck breast into pastrami, but that's one of my favorite ways to prepare it. Smoked and seasoned and sliced on a sandwich. So, and duck sausage and goose sausage. But yeah, growing up in Western Pennsylvania, we didn't have too much barbecue in this area at the time. You know, in the 80s, growing up in the late 70s, 80s, graduated from high school in 92. Just wasn't very popular back then. And when I went to Texas for my basic training in the Air Force, I ended up staying there for dog handler training and military police academy training, and just fell in love with the Texas barbecue there. And once I got back, I was like, wow, I don't know, I got where I can find this stuff. So I had to learn pretty quickly on my own. If I want to eat brisket, I'm going to have to make it myself. So I kind of started out with a Weber Smoky Mountain upright smoker. It's got a water pan, and you can use wood or charcoal or a combination of both. Turned out some great barbecue out of that thing for a long time. I've had that thing for probably 20 plus years. A few years later, I picked up a Bradley smoker, electric smoker, that made it a lot easier to control the temps more precisely. That's real important when you're doing sausages and cheeses and things like that. So just been messing around with those for a long time, and just recently last year picked up a pellet smoker. I was pretty hesitant to do that. A lot of people I talked to said, you know, you're not going to get the same quality of barbecue, but they've made some advancements in that the last few years, and decided to take a chance on one that I got on sale for a really good deal. And of course, my wife said, you know, we're going to have to do a taste test here before you get rid of the other smoker. Thankfully, it passed the test, and we're turning out some good briskets and pulled pork and smoked chicken. But it's just, it's huge because everything is all automatic. It's Bluetooth, it's digital. I can sleep. I don't have to get up in the middle of the night to check on a brisket that's smoking for 16 to 20 hours. So, and, you know, it's good. I mean, you can tell some nuanced differences between, you know, cooking over charcoal and wood compared to pellets. But, you know, I personally think the convenience factor is worth those tiny little differences. Everybody that I've served it to hasn't really been able to tell the difference. So, but, you know, if you haven't ever got into any type of smoking like that, I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's really, really helps with your wild game. You got a freezer full of stuff. If you get tired of making the same old thing, it's kind of fun to experiment with some different things. So I got the baby back ribs in the smoker today. I'm going to be putting some chicken thighs in there shortly, and I'm even going to smoke some cream cheese. If you've never smoked a block of cream cheese, I highly recommend it. Just keep the temperature down a little bit so you don't obviously melt it all over your smoker, but put some barbecue seasoning on there, a little smoke to it for an hour, serve it with some corn chips or crackers, and you'll have a lot of happy guests in the house. So I don't want to get down that rabbit hole too far. Just talking about some things off the top of my head here. I hope you all have been enjoying the content that we've been putting out. We had a great audio episode last week over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts with Bill Ayer from Slayer Calls. That was a pretty cool conversation with him about growing up in California. The furthest I've ever made it west to hunt waterfowl was Montana. And I never really think about, you know, hunting in California. My eyes were really open a few years back. I went out there and visited Yosemite National Park. And it's interesting. California has the most 14,000 foot plus peaks in the country. I would have thought like Colorado or one of those other Rocky Mountain states would have had that, but the Sierra Nevadas are no joke, man. And we drove from Yosemite down in the valley across to Monterey Bay, and just the amount of country that's in California. You know, you only hear about it living on the east side of the country. You only ever hear about like the big cities in California. So that was pretty cool to experience that. And it was pretty cool to talk to Bill about growing up waterfowl hunting in the Sacramento Valley. He did end up moving to Idaho not long after that and started his Slayer call business. But really interesting conversation with him about how he got into building waterfowl calls, working with his hands, and his early days of building calls and what that looked like. We got into the different calls that he offers and how to choose a call. Just a lot of interesting topics. Pretty cool episode. If you haven't checked it out already, I'd recommend that you go over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I think we're available on a couple other ones too, iTunes. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Give me some feedback. Send me an email, migrationwaterfowl@gmail.com, or make a comment on the video here. Just let me know what you guys think. I want to try to bring as much content that you're interested in that I can. I don't want to be going the wrong direction and covering stuff that you're really not all that interested in. But that was a pretty cool episode. Really enjoyed catching up with him about that. This week on the audio podcast, we've got Elliot Snyder from the Freelance Duck Hunting YouTube channel joining us over there. That's going to be released on our usual Thursday, as always. Elliot also hosts the North American Waterfowler Podcast. I've also talked about his North American Waterfowler app, where you can track all of your hunt stats. And I'll be talking about that a lot more in the future as I utilize that app to track my own waterfowl season. We had a great conversation with Elliot. I think you're really going to enjoy that one. I'm also going to be on his podcast next week. So be sure to be following the North American Waterfowler Podcast so you don't miss that one. What else? We're growing pretty quickly. I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been tuning in, that's been sharing, that's been, mentioning to friends about our podcast. It's really been a fun journey. I'm really enjoying bringing you guys all this content. I was really surprised to see we reached almost 10,000 Instagram accounts in the last 30 days. So that was pretty cool. Didn't realize that we were reaching that many people. So thank you all for that. We're going to be trying to get that boat project going. I did a video here on the YouTube channel for the Northern Flight kayak blind that I retrofitted to a sit-on-top kayak. Check that out when you get a chance. Let me know what you think. And that's about all I got for you. I appreciate you joining me today on this Memorial Day. Feel free to let me know what you think about the series in the comments below. And as I said before, let me know what you think and what you would like to see discussed in the future. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button while you're here. I really appreciate that. This content's free, so this is just one easy way that you can help us out without having to, spend any money. I know things are tight for a lot of people right now in this country, but just sharing our post or leaving a comment and hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, that goes a long way to helping us out with continuing to bring you some more free content. As I mentioned, be sure to check out our audio podcast on the Sportsman's Empire Network. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and several others. And join us on our Facebook and Instagram accounts at Migration Waterfowl. You can also connect with us and other listeners from around the country on the Migration Waterfowl Podcast Facebook group. We've got lots of merch over at our Migration Waterfowl store. There's hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve performance wicking shirts, coffee, and these sweet powder-coated thermoses, insulated bottles, whatever you want to call them. I got to get some black tape to take this into the duck blind, but this thing's pretty heavy duty. It keeps your coffee hot all day, keeps your cold drinks cold all day. Appreciate it if you could support me over there. You can find a link to our store on our Facebook and Instagram pages. As always, get out there and enjoy the outdoors, but make sure you seek out a relationship with the one who created everything. Psalm 91 says, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadows of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence." Thank you all so much for joining me on this Migration Monday. Thank you so much for coming back. Appreciate your time. God bless and take care.